Yo, so today I'm going to be breaking down this kind of slow, relaxing, ambient hyperpop melody I made. Alright, so before we get started, only hyperpop this week because I didn't do any last week in order to gain some new tips and tricks. But also, thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers. That's really cool, so the kit will be coming up soon. I just have to wait for the community tab to get activated on my channel. That way I can post the code to get it free for a day or something. But yeah, thank you for 1,000 subscribers. Alright, so to start off, I made this pattern with just a basic mallet I like to use. And really this is only pretty much made out of 7th chords, and they just kind of repeat with slightly different voicing. So if I go ahead and put this down, here's the 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, so it's a 7th chord. And then I just kind of change that around and put this up 3. So it just gives it a different tone. And I kind of just repeated that for all of them. As you can see, all pretty much the same chord for this section. And then this section, pretty much the same thing again. And then in this one, I don't really like using the 7th. For whatever note is below the root note in the scale, it kind of sounds off to me. So I just kind of clicked around and found a chord that actually sounded good. So I don't really know how to explain this one, but it sounds like this. So really simple, and it sounds kind of fast, but I kind of changed that around later with effects I added and stuff. Then next, after I got that section down, I just kind of went in and added these top notes here and just kind of clicked it in by ear whenever I heard it in my head. And another tip is, if you're trying to think of a top line, you can actually hum out the melody in your head. That sometimes helps for me. But here I just kind of clicked it in and went with whatever sounded good. So here's that melody with a top line. And you'll notice here these transition notes are a little bit deeper. I duplicated them down an octave just to kind of make that seem a little bit deeper. And then for the bass notes, usually I would just use one note, but I decided to use every chord change as a bass note just to kind of make it seem more deep. And then for the other patterns, I actually pitch this down an octave so it sounds like this. But I made it in kind of that higher pitch. Next thing I added is this synth from Serum. I think it's a pad, but it's called the line of sight pad. And it just copies that exact same pattern. And it's a pad, so here's what this sounds like. So now you can kind of hear it starts to sound a little bit slower when you use more of an ambient sound. And then on the effects on that, I just use mixer 1 as kind of just throw it in there and then add some effects and then render it out. So I kind of cut the lows and cut the highs, and then added that infinity preset in Finisher Micro, which is a free plugin. And then this chorus I used for something else, so it's turned off. But then I rendered that out and then put a low cut on it, or that's a high cut. And then love filter on an automation. So how I did that is going here, right clicking the cut knob, and then create automation clip, and then an imager. So here's what it looks like reversed and with the automation. So it kind of goes up because I wanted it to feel thinner here. So then the pluck would hit a little bit harder because I didn't want this super present in the melody. So I figured if I kind of sidechained, I guess, the filter, it would give it a little bit more space, but still not be super present. So here's what that melody sounds like with all the effects. So I think that sounded really cool. And I've been doing these automation clips on my reverse things a lot, and I really like the way it sounds. Next thing, I added this pluck. I believe it's It's from the Wanderer Bank. Yeah, it's the Heaven's Touch pluck from the Wanderer Bank. And I just copied the chords, took out all the bass notes, and also took out all the chords that made it feel fast. Like there was a chord here and here, but that made it feel too fast, so I just left this open. And there's also one here and here, but again, made it feel too fast, so I left it open. So here's what this pattern sounds like. So really slow and simple. And that goes with the reverse pad really nicely, so I'll play those two together real quick. So now you can kind of hear what I meant by like this gives it the pluck a little bit of breathing room, but like not enough breathing room to like where it's just the pluck. After that, I made this reverse top line texture sort of thing. So really it's this pattern and it's the dimension pluck from that Space Coupe bank. And it just copies the top line without the chords, so it sounds like this. And then I went ahead and did that to the same one insert. And then instead of this EQ, I did something like this. So really you were just getting that kind of twinkle effect from the infinity preset and the high end from the pluck. I also threw a chorus on it. And then I went ahead and rendered that out and reversed it. And it kind of sounds like a texture almost in the end. Like it doesn't sound like a real instrument, at least to me. So here that is. So really nice. And then I'll play all three melodies we've gone over so far together. So I think they really combine very adequately, very nicely. Next two sounds I added are leads. I believe this is from the Void Bank. I'm not really sure. Yeah, so it's the Universe lead from that Void Bank. And I just tried to keep the pattern really simple and leave breathing room because I wanted to add another lead into it. So like the lead could have a little bit more space here rather than here, but it still has like a nice groove to it. So here's what this pattern sounds like. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And then to contrast that, this lead is a little bit like quicker and higher pitched. And I kind of did this thing that I don't do that often, but you can see right here, I kind of treated this like a piano roll, like if you were to like hit one note and then go to the other real quick. But it adds like a really cool glide effect because the poly meter on this sound is a little bit higher. It's on like 108. And when I make leads, I usually put them on like 30. So it has like a little bit of a slower sweep. So yeah, really simple. And these notes sound really cool because there's really nothing else going on. Last thing, of course, the Musk sub bass just copies the bass notes, but I made some changes to it. So I went over to LFO2, and how you do this is you drag it to like the parameter that you want to control. So I dragged it to the volume, and then I edited how much it can alter it by this little knob over here. Then I went in to click load right here, clicked sidechain, clicked through these till I found something I liked, and it kind of makes it pulse, but like not super fast, so it's like a relaxing pulse. So here's this. So it's very like smooth, not very harsh at all. Yeah, so those are all the sounds I used in the melody. So now let's go into the mixing. On the reverse synth, I cut the lows, did the love filter and ozone. I already showed that one. And then on the pluck, I just kind of kept it in this area because it was kind of tinny up here. It just didn't sound real good. It kind of hurt your ears, so I cut that out. On the reversed top line, I did that same EQ that I did in insert 1 pretty much. And then I did this. So I think I learned this from like watching a Nick Mirror stream or something. But you can put this to 0% and kind of search for harsh frequencies. So if I go ahead and solo that. All right, so it's soloed now, so we can kind of go search for harsh frequencies. And you can see right there, it like really peaks. So I just brought that down because it kind of hurt my ears. So it just kind of like equalizes everything and makes it a little bit more pleasing to the ear. And then I also put the bigger preset of Pancake on there. Next, for the first lead, cut the lows because it's a little bit more of like a lower lead, and then put Magic Switch, but turned it just a little bit down. Then on the faster, more high-pitched one, I boosted the highs, cut out of like the low mid-ish area, added some reverb, then added a phaser. It's like the deep underwater preset. That's why like the delay sounded kind of cool, but I had to turn it down like 2/3 of the way because it was a little bit overpowering full volume. Then on the bass, just cut the highs. But yeah, and then there's really not much special with the arrangement. Just kind of normal. I do wish that I did this here because I listened to this loop again earlier. I wish I cut this portion off and had it repeat like here and here. So it would have sounded like this. But like rendered that out as an audio clip and had it get like pitched down every time. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a really simple melody. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers again. It's really cool. Very excited about it. But yeah, probably gonna go lift, and then I'm on my weird 3-hour break. Like it's 9 in the morning and I don't have to go back till like 12:30. So I'm gonna make some melodies and stuff. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have a splendid rest of your day. I'll play the final loop right now.